Bilingual web magazine, Dig Tokyo. Music and Parties 12. The Roots Music of David Lindley and Rai Cooter. An Introduction to West Coast Rock, 5. 1. Prologue. So far in this series on the music of California, we've covered 1. The Eagles and Friends. 2. The Doobie Brothers and Michael McDonald. 3. Jackson Browne and J.D. Souther. This fourth installment is an introduction to the work of David Lindley and Rai Cooter. Compared to the musicians we've covered so far, who have all attained significant commercial success, these two musicians have mostly stayed away from the mainstream spotlight. Casual fans of music might not have even heard of their names. But both Lindley and Kuder are guitar masters known for a dusty, earthy sound that evokes the American countryside, and an eclectic interest in roots music from all around the world. They embody the distinctive multicultural feel of the West Coast sound, and are widely respected as musicians. 2. Monster instrumentalist David Lindley. David Lindley first garnered attention for his work as a guitarist for Jackson Browne. With tangled hair, bushy mutton chops, a penchant for psychedelic shirts, and eclectic taste in music, Lindley was the perfect foil for the handsome, smooth, and introspective Browne. Throughout the 70s, he also toured with artists such as Linda Ronstadt and James Taylor, and in the 80s, he formed his own band, El Rayo-X. Since the 90s, he has continued to tour and work steadily as a solo artist. Lindley is best known as a master of the slide guitar, but is equally regarded as a multi-instrumentalist well-versed in a wide variety of string instruments, including violin, banjo, and mandolin. His electrifying live performances are a fusion of rock, blues, reggae, and world music. Footnote: Jackson Browne is a singer-songwriter who was born in Germany and raised in LA. Known for an illustrious solo career, he is just as well known for his talents as a songwriter, perhaps most famously, Take It Easy, a song he co-wrote with the Eagles' Glenn Frey. In 2004, he was voted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Footnote: Slide guitar is a technique for playing guitar that involves placing an object, usually a glass or metal tube worn over a finger, against the strings of the guitar while playing. It allows the player to create vibratos and glissando effects, resulting in a whiny, expressive sound. Slide guitar is said to have developed among blues musicians in the American South in the early 20th century. In the late 19th century, a similar technique using a slide bar, called steel guitar, developed on the Hawaiian Islands. Hawaiian steel guitar players later toured mainland US, and it is believed the two styles mutually influenced one another. Slide guitar is usually played in open tuning, where the strings are tuned in such a way that they can make an easily identifiable chord when strummed, without any fretting, the act of holding down strings on the fretboard to produce clear, full sounds. Footnote: Blues are a type of music that developed out of African American communities in the American South. It has its roots in black spirituals and work songs, and at its core is characterized by acoustic guitar and lyrics about weariness, the facts of life, and soulful longing. Footnote: World music is an umbrella term used to refer to so-called ethnic music from non-Western countries, Africa, Latin America, Asia, etc. David Lindley album picks. El Rayo-X. Lindley's first solo album was produced by Jackson Browne and released in 1981. The music is a mix of covers and originals, and blends blues, rock, Cajun music, Middle Eastern influences, and more. Mr. Dave. Lindley embraces a pop-leaning sound in this 1985 solo album. The standout tracks have an intriguing reggae feel. Originally a Japan-only release, it was reissued in 2016. Love is Strange and Vivo Continuo. This 2-disc album is a collection of live performances from Lindley and Browne's short Spain tour in 2006. The musical rapport between the two is outstanding, and several noteworthy Spanish musicians help bring Latin interpretations of Browne and Lindley's music to life. 3. The Moody movie soundtracks of Rai Cooter. No discussion of the work of David Lindley and his influence on the West Coast sound would be complete without a look at fellow multi-instrumentalist Rai Cooter. Like Lindley, Cooder is a master of slide guitar, and there is perhaps no better showcase for his talents than his work on the soundtrack of Wim Wenders' film Paris, Texas. Cooder and Wenders enjoyed a long working relationship that produced such films as The End of Violence and Buena Vista Social Club. Footnote: Wim Wenders is a German filmmaker and photographer. He garnered attention as a member of the New German Cinema movement, which was inspired by the French New Wave filmmakers. He came to prominence with a series of road movies depicting alienation in post-war Western Germany. He is also known as a documentarian and for his interest in Japan. His documentary Tokyo Ga explores the Tokyo depicted in the films of director Ozu Yasujiro, while in Notebook on Cities and Clothes, he examines the creative process of fashion designer Yamamoto Yoji. Paris, Texas. A co-production between companies in France and West Germany, this is a road movie set in Texas. A man in a fugue state reunites with the young son he has not seen for 4 years and decides to embark on a journey to seek out the boy's missing mother. Cooder's melancholic slide guitar beautifully reflects both the protagonist's state of mind and the barren American landscape. The film won the Palme d'Or at the 1984 Cannes Film Festival. The End of Violence. This 1997 thriller captures the paradoxical nature of SoCal, LA's reputation as a sun-drenched paradise, and Hollywood's reputation as a morally depraved, money-hungry industry that sells violence for profit. It is a fascinating, distinctly European take on the peculiarities of American mainstream culture. The soundtrack includes music from Rai Cooter, U2, and Tom Waits. Buena Vista Social Club. This documentary follows the legendary Cuban musicians of the Rai Cooter-produced ensemble as they travel to the U.S., many for the first time, and perform a sellout concert at Carnegie Hall in New York City. The film was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Documentary, won Best Documentary at the European Film Awards, and won the Los Angeles Film Critics Association Award for Best Documentary Film, among many others. Buena Vista Social Club. When Rai Cooter was invited to Cuba to play with veteran local musicians, he was inspired to bring the music of pre-revolutionary Cuba to a wider audience. Buena Vista Social Club is the name of the resulting ensemble, as well as the title of its debut album, which became a worldwide hit and the springboard for a successful world tour and renewed interest in Cuban music. Soundtracks. This is a 7 CD box set of movie soundtracks made by Rai Cooter and released through Warner Brothers. 4. World music aficionado Rai Cooter. Rai Cooter is also renowned as a champion of so-called American roots music, specifically the genre called Tejano music or Tex-Mex. Footnote: American roots music is a term that encompasses a broad range of music genres that stemmed from the music played by whites of European ancestry in the rural South, folk and country, and Southern blacks, blues and gospel. Footnote: Tejano music, also called Tex-Mex music, is the music that developed along Texas's southern border with Mexico. The style combines Mexican folk music with elements of country and pop music. Both Texas and California were once part of Mexico, until 1848 to be exact, and continue to be home to a large Hispanic population. River Rescue, the very best of Rai Cooter. This single-disc best of brings together the best songs on Cooter's solo albums from his early career. For those unfamiliar with the artist's music, this is a great place to start. Cooter's interest in roots music would also fuel his efforts to champion sounds from around the world and bring them to audiences that would have never encountered them otherwise. On his album Get Rhythm, he spotlights different rhythms from around the world, including Okinawan music. He has also produced highly regarded collaborations with artists like the Malian singer Alifar Couture and the Cuban guitarist Manuel Galban. Get Rhythm. Cooder's 11th album is a collection of eclectic rhythms and sounds, from the Tex-Mex take on Johnny Cash's rockabilly song Get Rhythm, to a blues rock take on Elvis Presley's All Shook Up, to the Ryukyu vibes of Going Back to Okinawa. Talking Timbuktu. This 1994 album is a collaboration between Rai Cooter and Malian singer and multi-instrumentalist Alifar Couture. It won a Grammy Award for Best World Music Album and is listed on the excellent musical reference book 1001 albums you must hear before you die. Footnote: Alifar Katoure was a Malian singer, guitarist, and multi-instrumentalist, and one of Africa's most internationally renowned musicians. Traditional Malian music has a distinctive bluesy sound and is sometimes referred to as desert blues. Mambo Sinuendo. This 2003 album is a collaboration between Rai Cooter and Cuban guitarist Manuel Galban. The pair bring Cuban popular music from the 50s, such as mambo, to life in full electric. The album won a Grammy Award for Best Pop Instrumental. Footnote: Manuel Galban was a Cuban guitarist, pianist, and arranger. He came to prominence as a member of Los Zafiros, a Cuban take on American doo-wop, and was active in his later years as a member of the Buena Vista social club. 5. Epilogue. Of Rai Cooter's wide-ranging oeuvre, my favorites are his albums with Hawaiian great Gabi Painui and his soundtrack work for Walter Hill's film Crossroads. The Gabi Painui Hawaiian Band, Volume 1. This album is the result of sessions Rai Cooter had with Hawaiian guitar god Gabi Painui and his musician friends during a visit to Hawaii in the mid-70s. Painui's 12-string guitar and steel guitar are front and center, and the beautiful guitar harmonies give the listener a glimpse of the real Hawaii, not the Hawaii overrun by tourists. The Gabi Painui Hawaiian Band, Volume 2. This album is comprised of music that didn't make it onto Volume 1, as well as 3 songs recorded when Painui visited mainland U.S. in 1976. Painui's interplay with other Hawaiian Slacky Guitar virtuosos is the highlight. Footnote: Gabi Painui was a Hawaiian guitarist and singer, best known as a Slacky Guitar virtuoso. He played an important role in the second Hawaiian cultural renaissance of the 70s. Footnote: Slacky guitar is a type of fingerpicking that originated in Hawaii and produces a distinctive laid-back sound. The name comes from the fact that the strings of a standard guitar are tuned down, that is, slackened. The thumb is used to play bass, while the other fingers are used to play the melody. Like slide guitar, slacky guitar playing is used on instruments with open tunings, where the strings are tuned in such a way that they make an easily identifiable chord when strummed, without any fretting, the act of holding down strings on the fretboard to produce clear, full sounds. Hawaiian music is generally played using an open G tuning. Crossroads. This road movie was inspired by the legend that blues singer and musician Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil at the local crossroads in exchange for a blues virtuosity. Much of the music is played and produced by Rai Cooter, except for parts of the climactic guitar duel between the protagonist and guitarist Steve Vai. Footnote: Walter Hill is an American filmmaker, screenwriter, and movie producer. His best-known works include westerns such as The Long Riders and Last Man Standing, the latter of which was a remake of Kurosawa Akira's Yojimbo, and action films like 48 Hours. Crossroads, original motion picture soundtrack. This is the soundtrack album to Walter Hill's film Crossroads. Rai Cooter's blues guitar perfectly captures the earthy feel of the dusty American countryside. My only gripe is that Steve Vai's climactic guitar battle is not included on the disc. Footnote: Robert Johnson was an American blues musician and a progenitor of the slide guitar and Delta blues style. He was an itinerant performer who mostly performed on street corners and juke joints, and had little commercial success in his lifetime. He participated in only 2 recording sessions in 1936 and 1937, which yielded 29 songs, a total of 59 takes, with 42 takes surviving today. His poorly documented life has given rise to many legends, but he is generally recognized as a master of the blues. The complete recordings. This 2-disc album features the totality of Johnson's recording output. Rolling Stone magazine ranked it 22nd on its list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. Footnote: Steve Vai is an American guitarist and composer. He played in local bands throughout his high school years and attended Berklee College of Music to pursue his interest in music composition and theory. While he was still a student, he began working as a transcriptionist for Frank Zappa, and after graduating he joined Zappa's band as guitarist. He would go on to work with a wide range of musicians in the studio, as well as tour with a number of high-profile rock bands. all the while releasing a number of solo albums. He is highly regarded for his heavy rock and metal virtuosity, and for setting up fans on stage to get that distinctive hair in the wind look. As this brief introduction has shown, an understanding of the relationship between blues and slide guitar, and Hawaiian music and Slacky Guitar is indispensable to appreciating the work of David Lindley and Rai Cooter. The deeper your understanding of musical genres and guitar playing, the more multidimensional their music reveals itself to be. Check out Rai Cooter's music in particular, starting with River Rescue, the very best of Rai Cooter. His love of blues, Hawaiian music, Okinawan music, and other roots music from around the world is infectious. And if his music seems bland to you, understand that it says more about your musical tastes than it does about the music itself. Music and Parties 12. The Roots Music of David Lindley and Rai Cooter. An Introduction to West Coast Rock. 5. www.digtokyo.jp